The meeting room was bigger than any hall captain Elias Monroe had ever seen. It wasn't made of metal or glass. No. The walls pulsed like living skin, glowing blue with soft light. The floor was warm under his boots, and there was no furniture. Only a circle of floating light in the center. "Okay," Elias whispered to himself, adjusting his stiff collar. "Don't panic. Don't make a joke." Around him stood 6 tall aliens, the royal guards of the Gloraxi Empire. One was over 8 feet tall, with sharp crystal armor growing out of their backs like wings. Their eyes glowed like molten gold, and not one of them blinked. He felt like a kid who had walked into the wrong classroom, except the teacher was a galactic superpower. The test was interstellar peace. Then she entered. Queen Zyrexa of Gloraxi, Supreme Matriarch, Conqueror of the Red Nebula, Destroyer of Fleet 9, hopefully, Negotiator of Peace. She was tall, taller than the guards, and wore no armor. Her body was covered in a long, flowing robe made of living vines that moved on their own. Her skin shimmered, silver blue, and her face, though alien, had the grace of a ruler and the strength of a soldier. Elias gave a slight bow. Captain Elias Monroe, representing Earth and the Human Federation. Zyrexa didn't bow. She only watched him for a moment. Then, in perfect English, she said, "You are smaller than I expected." Elias raised his eyebrows. "Yeah, well, humans are big on heart, not height." She blinked once. The room went quiet. His translator buzzed in his ear. Mild confusion, possible offense. Cultural mismatch detected. Crap. Zerk stepped closer, her eyes fixed on him. "Come to make peace. After your people fired on our patrol ships." Elias held up his hands. "That was a misunderstanding. Our sensors didn't recognize your ships, and our captain overreacted. That officer's been removed. We want peace. Truly." She tilted her head. "Peace is rare among warriors." "We don't want to be warriors," Elias replied. "Just want to live, and maybe not get invaded by glowing space giants." A few of the guards shifted. One growled, low and threatening. Elias felt sweat roll down his back. His translator buzzed again. "Danger, offensive language. Species descriptor may be interpreted as insult." "Okay," he said quickly. "That was a joke. Just a joke. Haha." Zyrexa didn't laugh. "Humor," she said. "Strange human tool. Used to disarm. Well, right now, I'd love to disarm." This tension, Elias gave a nervous smile. Still no laugh. Still silence. Then Zyrexa stepped closer. "Your people are unpredictable. You speak soft words, yet build powerful weapons." A joke during negotiations. "'Cause," Elias said, straightening up, "we're nervous. We're scared. You're stronger, older, and way more advanced than we are. But we're here anyway, because humans are also stupidly brave. We walk into danger and still try to talk our way out." There was a pause. Then, surprisingly, Zyrexa gave a short nod. "That," she said, "is honorable." Elias relaxed just a little, but then came the real test. A glowing sphere floated. Down from above, projected a hologram between them. A treaty, written in both languages. Simple deal. Earth would remain independent. Gloraxi ships would be allowed to pass through nearby systems. No war, no colonization. Just coexistence. But as Zyrexa read the treaty, her brow furrowed. "This line," she said, "you request that no union shall be forced. No bonding, no royal mixing." A standard clause, Elias explained. "I want to make sure. Earth remains free from foreign rulers, especially via political marriages." Zyrexa looked at him strangely. "You believe I would marry a human to conquer your world?" Elias held up his hands. "No, of course not. Unless that's a thing you do. Is it?" She stepped closer again. "Among my people, royal bonding is sacred. It is offered to only the most respected allies." "Oh." Elias blinked. "Well, I didn't mean to be rude." Zyrexa raised an eyebrow. "You joke of marriage, then insult the custom." No. Elias waved his hands. "I wasn't proposing. Not that I wouldn't. You're very regal and glowy. Wow. Okay, Words are failing me. Zarexa stared at him for a moment longer. Then, to everyone's shock, she smiled. You offer yourself as consort. To seal peace between our worlds. Elias froze. The translator buzzed. High-level agreement detected. Actual engagement. PROTOCOL accepted. Wait, Elias said slowly, heart pounding. Was that a proposal? Zarex's smile grew. I accept. The guards around the room suddenly pounded their fists to their chests and bowed. The vines on Zyrex's robe bloomed with white flowers. A floating sphere lit up, sealing the treaty. Something else. On Earth, in the control room back home, General Briggs nearly choked on his coffee. Did he just marry the Queen? The ship above Elias's crew stared at the live feed. Lieutenant Sarah said, He what? Elias, meanwhile, stood frozen in place. Zarexa stepped forward and gently tapped his chest. Are now a royal consort of Glorexi. Our union is sacred. Our bond, unbreakable. Elias opened his mouth, closed it, then muttered, Oh no. I think I just married an alien warlord. Captain Elias Monroe stood still, eyes wide, brain frozen. The alien queen had just accepted his fake proposal, and according to Gloraxi law, that meant Earth and the most feared empire in the galaxy were now family. Across the glowing chamber, the Glorexi guards began chanting. A strange humming sound filled the air. The lights in the walls changed from blue to deep violet, a sacred color in their culture. 2 floating drones flew in, releasing small sparks in the air. Like alien wedding confetti, Elias whispered to himself. This is either the biggest diplomatic success in human history, or the dumbest accident of all time. Zyrexa turned to him. Do you require a translator for the bonding ceremony? What? Ceremony? Elias gulped. No. Yes. Wait, can we slow down? Zyrex's voice was calm. Must happen before the sun set. That is the ancient law. He looked up. How many suns are we talking about? 3. Good, he muttered. Triple the pressure. Meanwhile on Earth, in the Human Federation's main command center, chaos had broken loose. Ambassadors yelled. Generals panicked. Some scientists cried tears of joy. Others just cried. On the main screen, the word married blinked in bright letters next to Ilias's name. General Briggs shouted, Did that idiot just hand over Earth through a shotgun wedding? No, sir, said a calm officer. Technically, the treaty gives Earth full protection and sovereignty. Also, we are now an official ally of the Glorexi Empire. Another diplomat mumbled. They've stopped all military movements. Their warships are returning to base. Everyone went silent. He did it, someone whispered. He actually did it. Briggs sat down slowly. He married the Queen and saved the planet. Back on Glorexi Prime, Elias was rushed. Through the palace, like a sack of potatoes in a tuxedo. Alien servants placed glowing armor on his shoulders and poured sweet-smelling oil on his hands. A crown of soft, living crystals was placed on his head. He looked like a mix of a knight, a space monk, and a confused tourist. He looked at a mirror. I look like I'm being sacrificed to a space volcano. A tiny Glorexi child peeked in and waved. Hello, new consort, are you edible? What? Just checking. She ran away giggling. Elias sighed. This is my life now. The ceremony in the central palace hall. Thousands of Glorexi nobles gathered. There were floating platforms, giant flags, and music that sounded like whales singing inside a blender. Queen Zyrexa stood tall, wearing armor made from the bones of extinct star beasts. She held out a hand. Elias walked forward, every step shaky. He placed his hand in hers. The Grand Priest began the ritual. Let these 2 minds unite. Let peace bloom through bonding. Let our stars shine together. As part of the ritual, Zyrexa spoke. I bind myself to this human. His courage I accept. His flaws I tolerate. His odd shape I find acceptable. Elias looked around. Everyone was watching. So he cleared his throat and said, I, Elias Monroe, Accept this accidental honor. I promise to not screw it up and to try not to die. A silence. Then a slow clap. Then another and another. The crowd burst into cheers. The treaty was signed in glowing ink. A giant symbol appeared above them, the mark of alliance. Fireworks exploded across the planet's sky. Later that night, Alias sat in a private chamber, drinking something fizzy and green. Xerexa joined him, now dressed in a simpler robe. So he asked, "What now?" "You are officially part of the royal line," she said. "But Earth remains free. You are more symbol than ruler, thank God. However," she added, "some in the Empire will not accept this peace. They see humans as weak. So the threat to tradition?" Elias leaned forward.
Oh.
"Let me guess, someone's going to try and kill me?" "Most likely," she replied calmly. "Probably tomorrow." Elias took another sip. Cheers to that. The threat begins across the planet. Deep in the outer cities, a secret meeting was held. A group of armored Glorexi generals sat around a stone table. "This union is a joke," one growled. "Our queen bonds with a lesser species. He is clever," another admitted, "but soft. A soft leader makes a soft empire." Leader of the group slammed his fist down. "Then we will act. We remove the human, then we take the throne." Plans were set. Spies were dispatched. The first attack would come within 2 days. Elias gets a warning the next morning. Elias was practicing how to walk without tripping over his ceremonial robe. Xerexa entered, holding a strange-looking crystal. "Our spies." "Heard whispers," she said. "There is danger." Elias rolled his eyes. "Of course there is. You will need training quickly." "Training?" he asked. "What kind?" She smiled. "Consort combat training." Elias groaned. "I knew." "You were going to say that?" Training begins later that day. Elias stood in a wide arena. Glorexi instructors surrounded him, each holding strange alien weapons. "First lesson," the trainer said. "How to dodge plasma spears." "Spear?" Elias asked. Too late. A glowing spear flew past his head. He screamed, ducked, and rolled. "Are you trying to kill me?" "No. If we wanted that, you'd be dead already." Training continued. He was taught to block using a vibrating shield, how to disarm with a shock whip, and weirdest of all, how to yell in just the right way to confuse a Glorexi soldier. By the end of the day, he was bruised, tired, and slightly proud. "Not bad," said the trainer. "You fight like a drunk beast, but you survive. Thank you." Closing scene. A bond begins that night. Xerexa and Elias sat on a balcony, watching the triple suns set. "I never thought peace would come from marriage," she said. "I never thought marriage would come from a peace talk," Elias replied. They shared a quiet moment. Then Xerexa said, "You are unlike anyone I've met." Elias grinned. "Yeah, humans are weird like that." She looked at him. "You may not be a warrior, but you have earned some respect." "That's all I wanted," Elias said. "Plus, maybe not dying in the next week." Xerexa stood. "Then rest well, human consort. Tomorrow we begin your trials." Elias groaned again. "Of course we do." As he lay back, looking at the alien stars, he thought, well, at least Earth is safe. For now. Captain Elias Monroe woke up to the sound of drums. Loud, deep, and rhythmic drums that made the floor vibrate. Beneath him, he sat up from the strange bed made of soft moss and glowing threads. His back ached, his legs were sore, and his stomach was already nervous. "Please tell me that's a parade and not a death match," he mumbled. But no. It was time for the consort trials. What are the trials? Queen Xerexa explained it over a strange breakfast of green, jelly cubes, and something that looked like glowing noodles. "The consort trials are tradition," she said. "Every royal consort must prove themselves in body, mind, and honor. If you pass, you earn the Empire's respect. If you fail, you die." Elias asked. "No, you simply become a joke for the next 1,000 years." "Oh, thank goodness. Just eternal embarrassment." Xerexa gave him a look. "Some say that is worse than death." Trial 1. combat of the body the first trial took place in a wide arena. Thousands of Glorexy citizens filled the seats, chanting and singing. Floating cameras recorded everything. The event was being broadcast live across 5 planets. Elias stood in the center wearing lightweight armor that shimmered with alien symbols. A small shield was strapped to his arm, a dull training sword in his hand. His opponent was Commander Brandvac, one of the strongest Glorexy warriors. Twice, Ilias's size, covered in stone armor, and holding a massive battle axe. "Perfect," Elias whispered. A warm-up fight. A loud horn blew. The trial had begun. Brandvac charged forward like a starship engine. Elias didn't even think. He dove sideways, rolled, and ran the other way. Laughter echoed from the crowd. Some booed, others cheered. Brandvac turned. "You run? I think the term is tactical repositioning?" Elias shouted. For the next few minutes, he dodged, ducked, and jumped. He used the arena pillars to block hits. At one point, he threw his sword like a boomerang. It bounced off a wall and hit Bran. Vac's shoulder. The crowd gasped. The huge warrior growled. Then, suddenly he stopped. Elias froze. "Is that it?" Brandvac dropped his weapon, bent one knee, and bowed his head. "You have passed." Elias blinked. "Wait, really?" Zarexa stepped forward from the royal box and spoke. "Strength alone does not win battle. Strategy, speed, and cleverness. These are the traits of a true consort." The crowd cheered. Fireworks exploded. Elias just tried not to faint. Trial 2. Combat of the Mind the next day. Elias entered a tall tower filled with glowing symbols and floating orbs. An ancient Glorexy scholar waited for him. Her name was High Thinker Vora, and she had lived for 300 years. She gave Elias a thin smile. "To pass this trial, you must solve 3 puzzles. Fail even one, and you are unworthy." "Great," Elias said. "Now, it's an alien escape room. Puzzle 1. The language lock. A wall full of alien symbols shifted before his eyes. He had to unlock the right pattern using Glorexy numbers and grammar. Thankfully, Elias had studied their language for weeks before the mission. It wasn't perfect, but he remembered something from the translation logs. He tapped 5 symbols in a row. Honor, life bond, light, peace. The wall slid open. Vora gave a short nod. Impressive. Puzzle 2. The emotional mirror. This one was strange. A mirror floated in front of him, but instead of showing his reflection, it showed different versions of him. Angry, sad, confused, laughing. He had to choose the emotion that would open the heart of peace. Elias stared for a moment, then whispered empathy. He touched the sad version of himself. The mirror glowed. The door opened. Puzzle 3. The logic trap. 5 colored cubes hovered in the air. "Ah," a voice said. "2 of us lie, 1 tells truth. And to remain silent, choose the honest one." Each cube had a phrase, read, "I am not the liar." Blue, the green one is lying. Green, the yellow one is not speaking. Yellow, silent. Purple, silent. Elias thought hard. Green is telling the truth, because if yellow is silent, green knows it. That makes blue a liar. Red, also lying, and the silent ones, well, silent. He picked the green cube. The puzzle vanished. Vora clapped her long fingers. "You have passed," Elias smiled. "Humans are small, but we're brainy." Trial 3. Combat of Honor. This one was not a fight or a puzzle. It was a test of loyalty. Elias was led into a chamber with a Glorexy noble who insulted him over and over. "You are weak. You are unworthy. You hide behind our queen's power." Guards waited, watching. Zyrex's voice echoed from a speaker. "This is your final test. Will you fight or walk away?" Elias stood still. He took a deep breath, then said, "I am not here to prove I'm better. I'm here to prove I'm brave enough to try. You can insult me all you want, but Earth and Glorexy are allies now, whether you like it or not." He turned and walked away. The room fell silent. Then the guards bowed. The test was over. Victory. And a warning: that evening, a grand celebration took place. Music played, food was shared, and for once, Elias actually felt like he belonged. Zyrexa stood beside him proud. "You have passed the trials," she said. "The people respect you." "Wow," Elias said. "That only took nearly dying 3 times." Then Zyrexa grew serious. "But there is a problem. A group of generals is plotting to break the peace. They plan something." Soon, Elias straightened. "Do we know where?" "No," she said. "But we must be ready." He looked at her. "Then let me help. I have an idea, but I'll need a little junk, a little tech, and a lot of time." She nodded slowly. "What are you planning, human?" He grinned. Classic Earth move. The fake out. Captain Elias Monroe didn't sleep that night. Instead, he sat in a dark room with glowing blue walls, a half-eaten fruit that tasted like bubblegum and pepper, and a mess of alien tech parts spread across the table. "I'm not a warrior," he whispered, tightening wires. "But I know how to trick the hell out of people." The warning earlier that day. Queen Zyrexa had told him the truth. Several high-ranking Glorexi generals were plotting to overthrow her. They hated the peace treaty with Earth and saw Elias as a joke, a weak human ruining their proud empire. "They want war," she said quietly, "and if they kill me, the treaty dies with me." Elias had only one answer. "Then let's give them a war. A fake one." The plan Elias's idea was simple. Kinda the Glorexi. Rebels believed humans were fragile, stupid, and soft. So Elias would become the opposite, a threat. He would pretend to be Earth's secret weapon, a species not weak, but dangerous, not peaceful, but too powerful to provoke. "I'll turn myself into their worst nightmare," he said. "We make them think killing me will bring death to their entire rebellion." Zyrexa smiled just a little. "You are more Glorexi than most warriors I know." Step 1. The message. Elias recorded a message on the palace's secure channel. The rebel spies were definitely watching. He stood tall in front of the camera. No robes, no jewelry, just plain black armor, a cold stare, and a deep voice. "To those who plot in shadows, I know who you are. Earth knows. We may look small to you, weak, but looks lie. If even one drop of my blood falls from a traitor's hand, Earth will come, and we will not come to talk. We will bring the fire." Zyrexa stood beside him at the end, silent and proud. The message went viral within minutes. Even the rebel generals watched it, and they felt something they hadn't felt. In years, doubt. Step 2. The trap. Elias and Zyrexa leaked false information. The queen and her consort would be traveling to a remote temple for a private bonding ceremony. In truth, it was bait. The rebels would try to strike there, far from the main palace, in open land, where they could ambush easily. Zyrexa hated the risk. "You are using yourself as live bait," Elias smiled. "That's the fun part." Ambush 3 days later, just before sunrise. A small glider ship floated above the red mountains of Glorexi Prime. Inside were Elias, Zyrexa, and 4 loyal guards. Everything was quiet. Too quiet, then, the attack began. 5 rebel skimmers burst from behind a rocky ridge, spraying plasma bolts across the air. "Here we go," Elias shouted. The guards fired back. Zyrexa drew her energy blade and deflected several shots. She moved, with power and speed, elegant and deadly, but the rebels had numbers. One of them launched a gravity grenade, exploded under their ship. The glider shook and spiraled down into a canyon, crashing hard. The fight on the ground, Elias crawled from. The wreckage, coughing, Zyrexa pulled him behind a rock. "Are you hurt?" "Only my pride," he said, brushing dirt off his face. "Is the recording still working?" She tapped the hidden drone above. Yes, Earth sees everything. Good, Elias thought. Let the galaxy watch. The rebels surrounded them, armored and smug. General Korvac, the traitor leader, stepped forward. "It ends here, Queen. You gave our empire to an animal." Zyrexa stood tall. "You gave your honor to your fear." Korvac sneered. "Kill the human. Make her watch." Elias raised a hand. "Before you do, let me ask something." The rebels paused. He had that look again, calm, smiling, too sure of himself. "Are you sure you want to do this?" Elias asked. Because if I die, Earth activates Protocol 9. What's that? One rebel asked. Elias tilted his head. A little thing called the starburn virus. Korvac frowned. What is that? Elias stepped forward slowly. You ever seen a planet melt? The bluff there was no starburn virus, but the rebels didn't know that. Elias kept going. Built it for defense. Spreads through data networks. Disables starships. Corrupts atmosphere stabilizers. If I die, the virus activates. Your warships? Gone. Your cities. Gas chambers? Your people? Well, no funerals in a firestorm. Said nothing, which made it worse for the rebels. Silence meant truth. Or at least, it looked like truth. The rebels shifted uncomfortably. One of them muttered, "He's lying." "Maybe," Elias said. "Want to find out?" Korvac raised his weapon, then hesitated. Elias didn't blink. A full 10 seconds of silence passed, then one of the younger rebels turned and ran. 2 others followed. Korvac roared, "Cowards!" Elias took 1 step forward. "Tick-tock, General, you kill me. Earth burns you back." Korvac's hands shook. Rage battled fear on his face. Then he dropped his weapon. The guards moved in instantly, taking him down and arresting the others. Elias exhaled finally. Bluff successful. After the storm back at the palace, Elias sat in a clean shirt, nursing a bruised leg and sipping sweet Gloroxy tea. Zyrexa entered, her royal armor shining. "The rebellion is over," she said. "All remaining traitors surrendered after seeing the footage." Elias smiled weakly. "Scared of my virus, huh?" She sat beside him. "You were brilliant." He laughed. "You know that virus doesn't exist, right? It was just a name I made up in a panic." "I know," she said. "But they didn't." A pause. Then Zyrexa added, "I used to think strength came from muscles. From war. From weapons." She looked at him now, I think. True strength is standing in front of death and smiling anyway. Elias looked down. "I just didn't want to die before trying Earth Pizza again." They both laughed. One last surprise that evening, Elias was called to the main hall. A giant crowd waited. Drums played softly. Zyrexa stood in royal robes. "This man," she said, "came from a world we once saw as weak. But he showed us the power of peace, of wit, of courage without violence." She stepped closer to him. "In our history, no consort has passed the trials, defeated a coup, and saved a queen." She held out a glowing medal shaped like 2 stars crossing. "With this, you were named Starborn Diplomat. A voice for both our worlds." Elias took the medal, and for once he was speechless. The day after the ceremony, the palace was buzzing with energy. Captain Elias Monroe walked through the grand halls, the Starborn Diplomat medal shining on his chest. People stopped and smiled. Some bowed, others whispered. He still felt like a visitor in a strange dream, an unexpected threat. But peace was fragile. While Elias and Queen Zyrexa had stopped the rebel coup, a new danger emerged, this time not from outside enemies, but from deep space. A massive fleet of unknown starships was approaching Gloraxi Prime. No warnings. Sensors showed they were powerful, much more than any Earth or Gloraxi ship. Zyraxi's voice was calm but firm. "This fleet may not care about our alliance." Elias stood beside her in the command room. "So what do we do?" She looked at him. "We show them what we are." The meeting of Worlds Elias and Zyrexa prepared a message for the fleet. It was simple but powerful. "We come as friends. We protect our people. We will not back down. Let us talk before we fight." Hours passed. Then a reply. The fleet did not attack. Instead, a ship landed on Gloraxi Prime. The stranger from the ship stepped an alien unlike any Elias had ever seen. Tall, slender, with pale blue skin that shimmered like water. Her eyes were silver and calm. "I am Valera," she said, "commander of the Amaran fleet. We come with a warning." Zyrexa nodded. "We listen," Valera explained. Their empire had been watching the Earth-Glorexy alliance. They feared it could upset the balance of power in the galaxy. Your unity could inspire others, Valera said. But it could also bring war. Elias frowned. We want peace. Peace is fragile, Valera said, especially when others see you as threats. The decision the Queen and the Commander debated late into the night. Elias stayed quiet, listening. Then Zyrexa turned to him. What do you think, Elias? He took a breath. We have two choices, fight or talk. Zyrexa smiled softly. Yes. Which will we choose? Elias looked at the stars outside the window. We choose to build something better, together. The alliance proposal the next day. Elias stood before the gathered leaders of the Amaran and Glorexy. I speak for Earth and Glorexy, he said. Our worlds come from different stars, but we share hope. We believe in peace, in friendship, and in learning from each other. He paused. This alliance will not be easy. There will be fear and doubt and hard days. But if we stand together, we can create a galaxy where no one lives in fear. The crowd was silent for a moment. Then, applause. Even Valera smiled. A new beginning weeks later. The Alliance ships flew side by side through space, humans, Glorexy, and Amaran engineers worked together to create new technology, starships, that combined their best designs. Elias stood on the bridge of one such ship. Watching the stars, Zyrexa joined him. We face danger in one, she said, but the real challenge is ahead. Elias nodded. Building peace is harder than winning. Wars, she smiled, but together, we can do it. A quiet moment later, Elias walked in the palace gardens with Zyrexa. The twin suns set behind them, casting orange and purple light. Elias stopped and looked at her. Zyrexa, I came here thinking I was just a visitor, but now I feel like I belong. She reached out and took his hand. Then stay, she said softly. Not as a visitor, but as my consort, my partner, Elias smiled. He had not expected a proposal like this. Wait, is that a proposal? She smiled back. I accept. Epilogue. The stars await years past. Elias and Zyrexa ruled side by side, guiding their peoples through challenges and triumphs. The Earth Glorexy Amaran alliance grew stronger, and humans learned the galaxy was not a place of fear, but of endless possibilities. Elias often looked up at the stars and smiled, because the future, their future, was theirs to build.